I thought that person would be you.
What a plan. One of the things we're going to start today, Chris, is reconditioning or repainting a coin door. This is an older one I've got here. I think you got some pictures of the wear and so forth on this thing. You know, can you see those little speckles?
Yep.
We're going to recreate that today and show you how to do that. It's really, really cool. A lot of people just repaint these.
Yeah.
And you will still see little bumpies, but if you notice, the bumps are shinier than the rest of the coin door. What we're going to do is we're going to paint this with a semi-flat paint, which matches the old finish identically. It's really kind of cool. I mean, it matches it perfectly. The speckles we're going to recreate with gloss black paint. So basically, when it ends up, it's going to look almost identical to an original door.
Cool.
Kind of interesting how that can be done. First thing we have to do, though, is we have to clean this coin door. I've got the whole thing all taken apart. And you can see how dirty this thing gets and the crap that gets in coin doors.
Yeah.
We're going to clean everything you see here. We're going to clean with
bleach white.
Bleach white. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Use bleach white liberally. Not use too much of stuff. You can already see the black crap just running off of this stuff. Like it's swimming.
Yep. That's one of those stickers that you lose in the process.
Get away from him, I'll lose him on the brain.
Can you tell me what you do with it?
I have a variety of different size cylinder shape brushes like this that are fabulous for getting inside. Like this, really brush in there. Yeah. No, these things work fantastic. Nothing.
Well, that's just this.
This is a cheap one. We're looking for this last one. Yeah, there's nothing better for green coin next time than bleach white. You open up any part, you open up, spray bleach white in there, just see natural everywhere. Brush all the paintbrush, and I tell you what, when it's all done, I don't care what Coke or pop or anything else some dang kid has dumped in this thing. They'll come out looking just fantastic.
It's a disaster. Yeah, dude.
Paintbrush works better this first. There's one more. Quite sorry. I think that's my big one.
Scuffy.
Well, yeah, I just took some lacquer thinner, Chris, and I just went over them all to make sure that we don't have any sticker residue or anything like that left. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all the parts and I'm just going to scuff them up with our red Scotch-Brite pad. And then we're going to blow them all off. And then we're going to use our tack rag to get everything off, and then we'll paint them. This one here we had quite a bit of chipping in the paint and so forth, so I'm just taking some, I think this is about a 220 grit sandpaper, and I'm just going to smooth out get rid of the edges and then go over it with the Scotch-Brite pads.
Tack rag.
We're going to paint the doors with Krylon semi-flat, specifically semi-flat. That stuff's kind of hard to find. You probably won't find that at Home Depot or Menards. I want to say I found this stuff at a crafty store.
Okay.
Got the right stuff? Yep, semi-flat. Pin coats, Chris, pin coats. Lots of them.
Spatter coat.
Gloss black. Not semi-gloss, but gloss. Let me see if I can't show you how we're going to do this, Chris. I'm barely going to depress this this top, and what's going to happen is rather than this paint spraying out, it's just going to dribble out. And we're simply going to go like that. A little bit too much. I'm going to play around with it a little bit and kind of get used to it. Trust me, the first time you do this, it's going to take you quite some time to get used to it. So don't go over here above your pieces and give it a try, because you're going to go, shit! Foot or so above, we're going to get a little spackling going. That's the way that's going. God dang it. Now we got it going on. Yeah, we got to add a little bit more. If you don't spray enough, you get too big of blobs. Needless to say, if you spray too much, you just get a big blast. There's a happy medium you gotta reach in the middle. Yeah, like that. Right on.
Yeah, looks great.
What do you think, bucko? Looks pretty sweet, don't it?
Yeah.
And the simplest one to put in first is the top one. That's the one that goes through both the coin door and the receiver. So we're going to come over here on this side. Now with all of these, all we're going to do is put them in finger tight to begin with. We're going to get the door all lined up, get everything lined up, make sure everything fits. We'll get all of our nuts all started, and then we'll line the door up and tighten it in place.
There you go.
This bottom one, Chris, also goes through this, let's call it the cash box retainer, whatever you want to call it.
That bracket.
This bracket, we installed this loose also so that we can get everything all started. Once we get everything all lined up and we start to tighten it, we'll tighten absolutely everything in place. But for right now, our receiver's loose, this is loose, all of the bolts are loose. Hopefully, Chris, you have paid attention when you took this whole thing apart to the length of the carriage bolts, because this particular one on the right hand side has to be shorter than all the rest, and the reason it does is if you put a longer one in, it's going to interfere with our activator here. So hopefully you've taken pictures, made documents, written everything down, you know exactly what you're doing. We know exactly what we're doing, don't we? No, but we're making it look good.
I think for your first one, it's going really well.
You bastard.
There you go.
Okay, we got all the carriage bolts all in and they're all left loose. You see how much play there is in this door, Chris?
Yep.
We want to, our final thing we want to do is make darn sure that we have this thing installed level and exactly where we want it. Because once we tighten these bolts down, the door itself is going to smush down on that decal and it's going to leave a mark. You won't see it, but if we shifted this door over, you'll see that mark left. So make damn sure this is exactly where you want it before you tighten everything down. And that looks pretty damn good. What we're doing, Chris, we're going to touch up this coin door with a paint pen. Got a few little nickies here and there.
That was when I could actually see it. So that was nice.
Paint pen is shiny, so what you do is you get a hang of for how long to let that thing dry, and you can actually do a mild wipe with your rag and it'll dull the finish just a bit and it'll blend it in a little better with the door.
Yeah.
When done correctly, the lockdown bar stays nice and tight.
Nice.
That'd be that. Of course, we'll clean all the grungy fingerprints up before we ship it out.